Hey everybody, this is Hillary here, and today we are going to be talking about mistakes that you could be making in your makeup application where you're just not happy with your results. So we're going to be going over do's and don'ts to kind of help you see maybe where your mistakes are and just have a better makeup application experience. Okay, so first mistake that is always made is your skincare. If you don't have good skincare and you're not doing a good skincare routine, your skin is not going to do and take makeup the way that it should. So if you're not on a good skincare routine, that is the first step. Good skincare equals good makeup. So secondly is priming, or the lack thereof. So always prime. It's a crime not to prime. So today I'm going to do one half of my face in what you should be doing, and the second half of my face what you should not do, or the mistakes that you're making, and you're going to be able to see a difference. So first I'm going to go in with the Younique Mattifying Face Primer. And I am going to dot that around, and we're just going to apply that. And we're just going to go half of the face. Primers, what they do is smooth the surface, minimize pore size. There are all sorts of different kinds of primers. Younique itself has a mattifying, a hydrating, and a glorious face primer. All of them do different things. I like the mattifying one because I do have combination skin and I love a matte look. So anytime you do a primer, you're going to want to let that sit as well. I like to let this sit for about 5 to 7 minutes and let that fully dry and sink in and do what it's supposed to do. So now when that is setting, I'm going to go in with no primer and add my foundation in. So I am using the Younique Liquid Touch Foundation. This is the shade Eyelet, and I'm just going to apply this just like I would if I did have primer on. And I'm just going to kind of dot this around my face. Right, like that. Okay, and I'm still letting this sit. So we're going to go in with this first. And the second mistake that is always made is using a dry sponge. Beauty blenders are meant to be damp when they're applying makeup. So mistake number one, dry sponge. All it's going to do is absorb your makeup. So you always want to dampen your sponge, squeeze all the moisture out of it. But also a dirty sponge. A dirty sponge is just going to, absorb and just not do good. So dirty sponge, dry sponge, and then third is wiping or smearing your makeup. You're going to want to go in with a blotting motion. So I'm going to show you, if you go in with a dry sponge and just rub everything around, you can barely see that I did anything, and then not blending down also. So like you literally can't even see that I put any makeup on. So we're going to continue to just kind of rub and just see what that does. The reason that you're not going to want to rub is this is pulling on your skin, and you might be young and have skin full of elasticity and collagen, but you're not always going to, and that's just going to cause wrinkles. So now that this is set, I'm going to go in with a damp sponge, and I'm going to apply, again, same way. I'm just going to dot it around. You can see like how much smoother this is going on. I don't know. I can feel a difference. I don't know if you can see a difference, but it just smooths everything. It goes on like silk. So I'm going to go in with my damp sponge, and we're just going to dab. we're just going to blot this all around. I like to do my lids down my nose. And just like that. And then I like to also kind of pull that down my neck just to allow for a better blend. When in doubt, blend it out. Make sure you're blending your makeup. Okay. Can't even say I did anything. All right. So now that we have our foundation on, I'm gonna go in with a concealer. The thing that I like to do is allow for a highlight while I am concealing. I choose a concealer that is 2 shades lighter than my foundation color. This is the shade Organza. This is the Skin Perfecting Concealer in Unique. The mistake that is made is not using enough or using way too light of a product. That's just gonna kind of make you look ghostly and washed out. So you don't wanna get something too light. You don't wanna do anything dark that's gonna accentuate your dark circles. You wanna only choose a shade that is a couple of shades lighter than your foundation. So I'm gonna go ahead and actually do the correct eye. And again, this is gonna go on so much more smoothly because we primed our skin. I also like to hit my lid because I do have darker lids. And I'm gonna go in with my damp sponge again, and I'm going to just blend this out. And also, you're gonna wanna do it in a upside down triangle. You're gonna bring it down further than your dark circle area because that's gonna allow for a bright, wide open, bright eye, awake, and nice and concealed. With this finger, I'm gonna go in and just show you what you're not gonna wanna do. So you can see that I'm just accentuating almost my dark circles. Oh, let's use the dry sponge, and we're gonna drag it again. So you can see that this almost, you can see where it stops. Like, it's just not a good look. You want to bring it down further to allow for a lift and a nice bright eye. I also like to go in and right in here, brighten my forehead, bridge of my nose. This is kind of hard, in the center of my chin. And again, we're just going in and dabbing. And I'm trying to only keep like half of my forehead, so. All right. So after that, we're gonna go in and set that concealer. So we're gonna set with the Behold setting powder. And the reason that we're using a setting powder is because this is a translucent powder. It's more finely milled, so it's gonna go in and absorb those oils that are gonna be coming through your skin during the day, and it's gonna keep your makeup in place. It's not gonna feel like it's sliding all over your face. All right. On the mistake side is we're not gonna set anything. We're just gonna let it be. Another mistake that is sometimes made is when cream contouring, you're using a shade that's way too dark, really, really red, and you're using way too much of it. If you Google how to contour, you'll see that like the number 3 is what you would contour with, which is a great place to start. But if you don't have a specific face shape, that may be a little bit too much for you. So try to figure out what your face shape is and specifically search for help on contouring for that face shape. So what I'm gonna do for the don't side is use that 3, and you'll see that it just does not work for my face shape. So we're gonna do 3. And then we're gonna go in and set that concealer. So we're gonna set with the Behold setting powder. And again, we're just going in and absorb those oils that are gonna be coming through your skin during the day, and it's gonna keep your makeup in place. It's not gonna feel like it's sliding all over your face. So we're gonna do a big 3, just like that. And you can already see that that is a lot. So for what I would normally do for my face shape is you're gonna have like a hole in your cheek right here. You're gonna do a little bit there. You're gonna do a little bit on your forehead, and you can do your jawline if you feel like you need it, and you can even do a little bit on your nose. Oh, let me do that one too. So a lot on your nose, coming around. Okay, all right. So you can already see that this is gonna be a lot. So I'm gonna go in with my brush, and I'm gonna go ahead and try and blend this out. Again, for a contour, you're gonna grab something that is 2 shades, whoa, wow. See, this is already gonna be bad. You're gonna grab a shade that is 2 shades darker than your foundation color. You can already see that this is just gonna be a mess. I don't even know what to do with this. Yeah. So I'm just gonna kind of blend that as best as I can. You can see that this is just like way too much. You've got like a hard line over here. Yuck. Okay. And maybe that wasn't a good idea. Okay. Oh, and then for your nose, using a brush that is like way too big, that's just gonna smear it and make your whole nose look dark. So what you would wanna do on the do side is just do what is needed. You're not, and I'm just trying to clean my brush off a little bit. So start by just kind of warming that up into your skin, and then you can kind of blend that out. And you can drag it up a little bit, but that's just to kind of like fade it out into your skin. That's not to do that shape of the 3. And then just up in your temple, kind of rainbow. I would normally rainbow just kind of around. And then you can do your jawline if you would like. But just make sure you blend that. Okay. So you can already see that this is just like all bronzed and too tan. Okay. I don't usually do down the sides of my nose, but a good thing to remember is that you don't want to look like you have 11s down your nose. You want to blend that out. Okay. All right, so now we're gonna move on with some powder setting. First, what I like to do is go in with a shade of pressed powder that is 2 shades lighter than the foundation that I use. Again, this is the shade Organza. So we're gonna tap into the powder, and we're going to tap under our eyes and anywhere that we put that concealer. And this is just gonna allow for that nice bright highlight. Just like that. Now I'm gonna go in with a different color powder, and I'm going to set everywhere else that we put our foundation. And this is the shade Poplin. And I like to just kind of press that powder in, bring it down my neck again. And you can just see that this is still nice and blended. You still have that dimension from that cream contour. And over here, again, the mistake that we're making is not doing any powder to set our foundation. All right. So now what we're gonna do is go in with our bronzer. The mistake that is made with a bronzer is just using way too much of it. Like, bronzers are supposed to add warmth back into your face, give you a sun-kissed look. It's not supposed to make you look tan all over. That is not a good look. So anyway, another mistake that is always made is not using different brushes. You don't want to use the same brush for your bronzer that you use for your powder, that you use for your blush. Grab a different brush for everything. Don't use the same brush for everything. All right, so again, I'm just tapping in. This is the Beachfront bronzer from Younique, and this is the shade Hermosa. I'm just tapping in. I like to swirl to really diffuse those pigments all around the brush. Tap off any excess, and again, we're gonna just focus on that little hollow part of your cheek. Just like that. Oh, and really light-handed. Don't go in with a heavy hand. You can always add more. But once you get too much, it's hard to take away. So again, we're just going in everywhere that we did that cream contour. We're just fading down. Chair's squeaking. And that's it. What I would do for my mistake is putting a lot on, not dispersing those pigments around the brush, and going in with a really heavy hand. Like, oh, you're not going to be able to fade that out no matter what you do. Just too much. Oops, I wasn't supposed to fade that. Anyway, you get the gist. Too much. Like, it just looks blotchy, it doesn't look smooth, it doesn't look good at all. This side is nice, sun-kissed a little bit, nice and smooth application because of the primer. Like, it's just great. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to the blusher. I am using Sweet. This is Younique's matte blusher. This is just a really light, subtle pink. Again, using a different brush, I'm going in, lightly tapping off any excess, and we're just gonna focus on the apple of our cheek and then kind of above what we just did with our bronzer. And you can smile and get that apple of your cheek, and that's it. This is just gonna add a little bit more. The mistake would be using, again, way too much, going in with a heavy hand, and just applying way too much and way too big an area. You can see how like splotchy that looks. And that's all because no primer, no setting powder, you know, nothing to set your makeup to keep it in place. Okay, so mistake with highlighter would be, let me see if I can find her. I'm using the Touch a la Mode powder highlighter, and I'm gonna go in with another clean brush. I do have two of these, so don't think I'm using the same one. And I'm gonna go in, lightly dust it on my brush, smooth or disperse those pigments around, tap off any excess, and we're gonna go in really light-handed and just go on the upper cheekbone. You can see that's just gonna add a nice little glow. You can add, you know, a little bit to your nose. You can do your Cupid's bow. You can, you know, tap on the brow bone. Anything that is facing up towards the sun that the sun's gonna hit and make a nice little glimmer is gonna be where you would like to highlight. Mistake would be using way too much and putting it all over your cheek. If you do something like this, all that's gonna do on your cheekbones is accentuate all your pores, and it's just gonna look like, hey, sparkly pores here. That's not a good look. So using way too much, like, just a bad look. This is nice and subtle. Okay, so moving on, we're gonna start with our eyeshadow. So I'm gonna use the Addiction Palette 1. This is our neutrals palette for the good eye, I'm gonna use a couple of different colors with a couple of different brushes. The other eye, I'm gonna just use a couple of colors with the same brush and the wrong size brush. So let's get started on the what to do. First, you're gonna go in and make sure that your brushes are clean or cleaned off or don't have different pigments from other applications. I'm gonna go in with the fluffy crease brush, and I'm gonna go in with this medium shade brown. And again, I'm not loading up my brush with a ton of pigment. I am dispersing those pigments around, tapping off any excess, and we're gonna go in just as like a transition shade lightly into the crease. And windshield wiper motions, and then just little circular motions to kind of disperse that. And the mistake would be going in with a brush that is not fluffy, going in with too much, and I'll even tap a little bit off, but just using a really heavy hand and just getting too much too quickly. I can't even control this. All right. All right. So you can already see that this is just way too much already. And eyeshadow is something that you should build. Add dimension to your eye. There's a spot for every color and every place, and there's a brush for every part of your eye. You know, just take it slowly, light-handed. All right. So we're gonna go in with our, where's that brush? There it is. So this is another brush. This is also the fluffy crease brush, but you can see it's different. It's purple. I'm just cleaning this one off. And I'm gonna go in with Forthright. This is a little bit darker color. This one, I'm gonna barely put any on the brush, disperse that around, tap off any excess, and I'm just gonna focus on the outer corner of my eye. And we're just gonna do a little circle and then a little bit up. Little circle and a little up. And we're just gonna keep doing that until everything is nice and cohesive. Just like that. On what not to do, we're gonna use the exact same brush, and we're gonna go in with Forthright, and again, way too much. And you can see that this is not blending. There's fallout because we didn't tap off our brush. We got way too much pigment, and nothing looks nice and smooth. Okay, so next I'm gonna go in with a kind of flat paddle brush. You can see that all of these the bristles of the brush are nice and tight. This is gonna allow for a lot of pigment in one spot, and it's gonna be super controlled. So what I'm gonna do is make sure that's all cleaned off, and I'm gonna go in with the shade Brassy right here. And we're just going to tap in, and then we're gonna tap right onto our lid. And this is just gonna allow a really pretty pop, and it's gonna open up the eye. Just like that. Okay. And I'm gonna go in with the blending brush, make sure that's nice and cleaned off, and we're gonna go in and just make sure everything's nice and blended. Just like that. This, we're gonna again go in with this one. I will clean it off. And we're gonna go in with that brassy color again. And you can see how much darker it looks because I'm using the same brush. All right, so you can see that this eye just does not look nice and blended. This eye's lighter. It still has dimension in it, but it's just not this. All right, So we're gonna go in now with our brows. I am going to use the Brow Precision Pencil. This is unique. This is the shade Medium. And what I like to do is start at the corner of my eye and work my way up. And that is gonna be my starting point there. First, we're gonna outline the bottom of the brow and just kind of follow along where your brow is already. So you're gonna just outline the bottom of the brow, and this is just gonna make everything look nice and tight and you know, more put together. We're gonna do the exact same thing at the top and just follow along where your brow should be. I need a mirror. And again, you can see that I'm going in and really light-handed, like my hand's at like the end of the brush, and just filling in with light, airy strokes. And then I'm just gonna kind of connect everything and fill in. Just like that. And then I will go in with the spoolie end of a brush and just make sure everything's nice and combed back into place. The mistake in the brushes, or in the brows, in the brows would be either not doing anything with your brow or using something that is way too dark and then way overdrawing your eyebrows. If you have like no eyebrows and you do an eyebrow that's like this big, it just doesn't look real. You don't want to look like you have like a plastered eyebrow. You still want, you know, makeup is supposed to enhance. It's not supposed to make yourself look fake. So just, you know, be cautious of, you know, should always fill in your brows. Add a little something to your brow, but don't way overdo it. Okay, so I'm just gonna leave that as not done anything with. We will comb them at least to get everything in order. Okay, so let's move on to mascara. One mistake in mascara is not doing enough of it. You know, just hitting like the tips of your lashes just because you're afraid that you're gonna get it on your skin. A fun little fact with mascara is that it's not supposed to stick to your skin. So if it gets on your skin, as long as you let it completely dry, it will flake right off. So I'm just gonna do a little bit on the ends of my lashes, just so you can see that I have a little bit on, and then that's it. Like, you can't even see I have anything on my lashes. Now with this one, I am going in with our 4D Epic Mascara from Younique. And this is a double-sided brush. One side has short bristles, the other side has long bristles. You're gonna start with the short side and start by wiggling and rolling up your lashes. And again, if you get this on your skin, it's not a big deal because it flakes right off. Okay, and we're gonna flip the brush and again, just wiggle at the bottom and kind of blink and roll the brush right up your lashes. This mascara is life-changing. Do you see the difference? I look like I have falsies on. Like, amazing. Oh, I forgot to do something with the shadow. We'll go back. All right, so with the shadow, the mistake, where's it at? I always like to bring my shadow down under my eye, and it just makes everything look really cohesive and put together and like it's supposed to be there. The mistake would be using way too much, way too dark, or just like not doing it right. I don't know. So we're gonna go in with a really, it's what I think, what is it called? A contour? No, I don't even know what it's called. This is the M431 from Morphe. But I'm gonna go in again with a transition color and then a darker color on the correct side. And again, you're tapping around, you're tapping off excess, and then we're gonna go in, and you're gonna go in like almost like with the brush touching your cheek. You're not gonna go straight in towards your eye. You're gonna go in like underneath your lashes. And we're just gonna lightly buff that under the lash line. Just like that. And you can already see the dimension that that adds. Like it almost gives me a cat eye look, and I haven't even done any liner. So again, the mistake would be going in with way too much on your brush, going straight in. And you can see that that just, I mean, I went straight in at my lashes, and look at how far it came down. It's just gonna make you look like you have a black eye. So again, go in almost with the brush touching your cheek and just wiggle that around, okay? All right. Okay, last but not least is the lips. And the mistake that is made is one, not using a liner, and two, not fully filling in your lips. I see it all the time where, you know, people think that overlining your lips means that like you're drawing a fake lip. No, overlining your lip just means that you're going to the outside edge of where the color stops of your, like the lip. That doesn't mean that you're gonna way overline. You don't wanna do that either, but you wanna completely fill in your lip, make your lip look fuller. So first what I'm gonna do with the correct side is go in with a lip liner. Lip liner is gonna keep your lipstick from running. If you have fine lines on your lips, it's gonna keep it from running, it's gonna keep it in place. So again, I'm gonna start right where the color of my lips stops. And that's where it's gonna stop. I don't have big lips, so you know, I need a little bit of everything. I need a little bit more. So again, there we go. You can see that it's not like way overlined, it just adds a little bit of something to your lip. So now I'm gonna go in with what not to do, and this is the color Sentimental, and this is in our Splash Liquid. And with these colors, a little bit goes a long ways, so I like to almost clean the wand off. And let me see if I can show you. All right, so I'm just going to do my lip. And nothing more. And on this side, I'm gonna add a little bit more. I'm gonna actually go to where my liner is. You see the difference? Like, it's not way overdrawn or anything, but it just adds a little bit of more oomph to my lips. Like, there's so much wrong with this side of my face. This side looks nice, looks natural. It looks just like a little bit of makeup on. If you have any questions, please message me. I would love to help you out with your makeup selections. And, you know, practice makes perfect. You're not going to do it the first time and look like a professional makeup artist. It all takes practice. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, hit the bell so that you get notifications when I do add them, and like, share, comment. I love you all, and I'll see you later. Bye.